And welcome to our Psychology Day talk today. We have Miss Miriam Davis. She is a school counselor in the Lafayette Parish School System, and she has been a school counselor for 5 years and currently counsels 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students. She serves as a board member for the Louisiana School Counselor Association as president-elect. Miriam received her undergraduate degree in psychology and general studies from Nicholls State University. While an undergraduate student, she conducted research on the question, are children likely to remember negative words as opposed to positive words in color? She conducted the research project to observe the effects of color on recognition and memory in children. Miriam also received her Master's of Education degree in school counseling from Nicholls in 2017. While in graduate school, she served as the president of Chi Sigma Iota Honor Society. After graduating with her master's, Miriam obtained her LPC license and currently owns her own private practice, Adaptive Mind Counseling. During her spare time, she enjoys reading and spending time with her family and friends. Thank you for coming today, and I'll turn it over to you.
Perfect. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Thank you for the introduction and again for this amazing opportunity to speak at you guys' Psychology Day. I'm really excited to share the information that I have about this topic, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it works, guys. Give me 1 second. All right, let's see if it'll let me share my PowerPoint. Let's see. Can you guys see my PowerPoint? Okay, some are shaking no. Let's see. Okay, can you see it now? Yes, okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. So yes, guys, I will be talking about developing a growth mindset. And this topic is near and dear to me because this is something that I truly believe in. Not only do I share this with my students, but I also share this information with my clients as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so again, the introduction that you guys gave, I really appreciate that. Absolutely. I'm just following up with what was said. I've been a school counselor for 5 years, and guys, I'm actually at school right now. So if you hear students' voices in the background, that's because I'm at work, or if you hear little knocks on my door. But yes, I absolutely love what I do as a school counselor, and I definitely have a passion for students. And so because of that passion, I decided to join the Louisiana School Counseling Association board as president-elect, which means I will take presidency or become president in 2 years, and I'm really excited about that. So again, yes, I'm a licensed professional counselor. I've been doing that for 2.5, going on 3 years, and I definitely love what I do. And again, I own my own private practice, Adaptive Mind Counseling. And it's very interesting because the name that I came up with kind of ties in with mindfulness and a growth mindset and a little bit about what we're getting ready to talk about in a little bit. So I just wanted to share again that information with you guys. Okay, so the topics today we'll discuss fixed mindset versus growth mindset, neuroplasticity and growth mindset, and building a growth mindset. And I think that it's very gracious that you guys have given me an hour to present this information, but I don't think that it'll take the full hour. We're pushing towards 30 minutes, but again, I appreciate the time that you've given me. Okay, so have you ever said to yourself the following statement? So one of the things that I want you guys to do as I present is to kind of reflect on your own life your own thoughts, your own beliefs, because I'm going to ask you some questions that I want you to kind of silently answer yourself. So again, have you ever said or thought the following statements? This is too hard. I just can't do this. I'll never be that smart. I give up. This may take some time. I'm going to train my brain. I will learn how to do this, and I'll try a different strategy. So I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely said a couple of these statements at one point in my life, and there are times now where I still will say those statements. So depending on the type of mindset that you have will depend on the statements that you make, especially regarding yourself and regarding your abilities. So there's a couple of these statements that I made whenever I was younger, and there's some statements that I say now as an adult. So again, you may have said these statements before, or you may actually still say these statements. Again, it depends on your mindset. And so what is a mindset? So a mindset is a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, and mental attitude. So depending on the type of mindset that you have, whether it's positive or negative, will determine your outlook on life. So if you have a negative mindset, you're going to look at yourself in a negative manner, and you're going to also look at everything else around you that way. So the world is going to be a negative place and so forth. And the opposite, if you have a positive mindset, okay, you're going to look at yourself in a positive manner, and you're going to also look at the world around you in a positive way. So we're going to talk about the two different mindsets, but we're going to mainly focus on the growth mindset. But in order for you to understand the growth mindset, we have to also talk about the fixed mindset. Okay, so the mindsets continue. Let me make sure, yes. So for many of us, our mindsets were created during our childhood. Feedback from parents, teachers, and friends shaped how we viewed ourselves. So if you kind of reflect back to how things were whenever you were a child, basically what was told to you and how things were presented, oftentimes you carry that as an adult. So I'm going to give you a personal example. When I was in high school, I had a teacher tell me, Miriam, you'll never be good in math. Guess what? I believe that mindset, and I carried that until college, until I realized, wait a minute, there were just a few things that I was missing. But because I received that feedback and I held on to that, I carried it with me, and it shaped what I thought of myself and how I perceived just my intelligence. So mindsets become stronger when practiced and repeated. An example, again, are thoughts, positive and negative. So if you are constantly in a negative mindset and you don't get out of that, you're going to continue to think in a negative way. And the opposite goes for the positive as well. So again, it can be changed based off of the information that you received. So again, so if you're saying, okay, Miriam, listen, I received some negative information as a child, can I change? Absolutely. And we're going to definitely get into that a little bit later. Okay, so again, for the fixed and growth, if you have a fixed mindset, you tend to avoid challenges, give up easily, see effort as fruitless, ignore useful criticism, and are often threatened by others. So this is often seen as like a locked mindset. So if you picture the brain with like a lock on it, this is what is considered fixed. So growth, on the other hand, if you have a growth mindset, you embrace challenges, persist in obstacles, see effort as necessary, you learn from criticism, and you're inspired by others' success. So one thing that I want to point out is that typically most individuals fall in between. So you're never really on one side or the other, if that makes sense. Now, of course, we're kind of leaning more towards a growth mindset, but you're never going to fully be in that mindset all of the time. So it just depends. Okay, so fixed mindset versus growth mindset, what's the difference? So a fixed mindset is essentially the belief that abilities are innate and fixed from birth, meaning that if you were not born with that particular ability or particular intelligence, you will never be good at something, okay? Or you will never gain that particular intelligence. Going back to the example that I gave you in regards to math, if you have that mindset, that fixed mindset, you believe, okay, I'm never going to be good at this. Again, growth mindset is a belief that you can develop your skills and talents through hard work, the right strategies, and guidance from others. All right, so let's see. Okay. This is one of my favorite quotes from Carol Dweck. She's actually an American psychologist who coined the term growth mindset. So I encourage you guys that whenever you have some free time to please research her and look up the information that she has regarding growth mindset and fixed mindset. And it's very interesting. But she stated, in a world, effort is a bad thing. It, like failure, means you're not smart or talented. If you were, you wouldn't need effort. And the other world, effort is what makes you smart or talented. So again, if you look at the two, fixed mindset and growth mindset, as two different worlds, that's basically what we're operating in. Okay, so these are a few examples. Okay, so let's see, I'm trying to move my window, guys. Hold on. Okay, so for example, if you get a very high grade on an exam, if you have a fixed mindset, you're going to think, great, I must be really intelligent in this area, because again, you're going to believe that this is something that you have received from birth. But a growth mindset, great, I must have worked hard and learned a lot. So the next situation, if you're starting a new assignment or project, if you have a fixed mindset, you're going to say, I hope this will be easy for me. Growth mindset, I hope this will be interesting. And lastly, if you get negative feedback on your work, your fixed mindset, you might say, oh no, this proves I'm no good at this. And a growth mindset, okay, I need to get back to work and learn more. So again, depending on the mindset that you're currently in will depend on the statements that you make, whether it's more so positive or negative. So again, it's all about your perception and your perspective of what's currently going on in your life. Again, if it's a negative mindset, negative perspective, positive mindset, positive perspective. Okay, so now guys, we're going to talk about neuroplasticity and growth mindset and how it connects in regards to developing. So this is more of the scientific part that we're really getting into, because one of the cool things about psychology that I loved whenever I was in the program undergrad was just learning more about the brain and how it works and how it affects just what we do, and also how it affects our mental health as well. Okay, so what is neuroplasticity? I'm sure that you guys have heard of this at some point in your program, or that you will learn this information. So basically what it is the concept that our brain changes over time. It's really interesting because the research indicates that our brains can change regardless of age. So that means at any age, you can definitely learn something new and our brains can change. So our brain is like a muscle, which we know that it's not, it's an organ. But it's like a muscle in a sense that it means that it's affected by how much we use it. Have you heard the term, if you don't use it, you'll lose it? And that's basically what we're referring to when it comes to the brain. Absolutely. So if there's something that you no longer do or stop doing, you may lose the ability in regards to doing that thing that you're used to doing. So there are things that we can do to help our brains grow, such as practice and hard work. You've heard the saying, practice makes perfect. And there's something to it. Is there something that you do over and over again, okay, you would get better at it. So could it be when it comes to your mindsets as well, especially if you want to have a positive mindset, you start to do more positive things. You start to say more positive statements and so forth. Surround yourself with positive people. So there's things that can definitely be done that can reinforce that growth mindset. Okay, so neuroplasticity and growth mindset, how does it work? So again, there's thousands and thousands of brain cells, neurons, that transfer information to other parts of the body by connecting to other neurons. So the interesting thing, guys, about the connections that are formed is that they can change based on our experience. For example, if we no longer complete a task, again, like I just mentioned, the connection will get weaker. However, when we're challenged and complete difficult tasks, then our neurons can produce stronger connections. So this is how it's connected to the growth mindset. Knowing that your brain can change and grow affects your thoughts and actions. So knowing that this can happen, you can say, okay, then I can learn something new. I can actually do this. So when we understand that our skills and abilities are not set in stone, we are encouraged to keep working hard and to not give up. So basically, again, that if our brains can grow these new connections, think about, okay, how that ties in with the growth mindset. Absolutely. So that you can learn something new. You can't necessarily stay in the fixed mindset by saying, okay, I can't do this. No, you can actually do it. And so we're going to talk about that the next few slides. But this is a quote that I found, guys, that I thought that was interesting, and I really liked it. It says, it's not how good you are, it's how good you want to be. You have to believe in yourself and believe in your ability to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life. You may say, okay, I'm not good at it, but okay, sure. If you think that you're not good at it, then guys, then you're not. Again, it's all about your mindset and what you think of yourself. So it's important to think in the realm of, okay, yes, I got this. I can do this. I can achieve whatever I set my mind to. All right, so now the fun part, how to develop a growth mindset. And so guys, I in my research, I found there was a lot of things, but I chose 7 things that I think you guys can apply to your lives in regard to how to develop a growth mindset. So listen, this is not set in stone. You may figure out some things on your own and how to grow your own mindset. But in my research, guys, this is what I came across. So again, there's 7. So first one, identify your own mindset. Next, explore why you want to develop a growth mindset. Third, look at your own improvements. Fourth, review the success of others. Fifth, harness the power of yet. 6th, make mistakes. And the 7th, be kind to yourself. And so we're going to explore all of those in further detail so that you can have some more information. So again, the first one, identify your own mindset. Guys, it's important for the rest of your lives to check in with yourself. Check in with yourself and ask questions such as, how well do I accept challenges? Do I embrace them or shy away? Or based on your answers, we determine, guys, if you have a fixed or growth mindset. So again, it's important to check in with yourself to see how your thinking is. When I'm meeting with my clients in my private practice, I make sure that I'm in the right state of mind. I'm always checking in with myself to see, okay, what type of state of mind am I in? So that's something that I want you guys to do, whether it's today or whenever. It's just to check in with yourself to say, okay, what type of mindset do I have now? Is it fixed? And if so, what can I do to move in the direction of a growth mindset? Because again, there's always room for growth. Okay, the second one is explore why you want to develop a growth mindset. What is it about the growth mindset that makes you want to change? Do you want to change because someone says, hey, I think that you're a negative person and I think that you should think more positively? Or is it more so for personal growth? Because listen, I'm sure you guys are aware of this, that if you're trying to change for someone else, or if someone else wants you to change, it's probably not going to be effective because it's not something that you want to do. Now, this is something, again, you have to ask yourself, okay, what about it makes me want to grow, makes me want to change? So also consider the benefits that will bring to your life. So again, after this presentation, I encourage all of you to please research growth mindset and get some more information and make the determination, okay, do I need to have more of a growth mindset? Okay, the third one is look at your own improvements. Is there something that you're better at now than you were in the past? And what was previously difficult and why is it easier now? So a lot of times what we fail to do is look at our own improvements. We tend to focus on just the negative. So again, I'm sure there's things in your life that you've accomplished or that you improved in, and that's huge. And that's something to definitely celebrate. So these questions, guys, can assist you in reflecting on the time and effort that you spent. So again, let's say that you did have a fixed mindset, or you currently have a fixed mindset right now. You can actually look back on or reflect on the things that you have improved. Like, again, the example that I gave you before regarding me with math. Yes, guys, I improved, okay? When I changed my mindset and I changed my thoughts, I was able to realize, okay, there was just a couple of things about math that I didn't understand, but listen, I improved in that. So again, it's important to reflect on your own improvements and things that you changed. Okay, fourth, review the success of others. So this is an important one. Is there someone in your life that has overcome adversity? If so, reflect on how they have achieved their success and apply their strategies to your own life. This is one of my favorite examples, guys. J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, she was a single parent. She lived in poverty, and she was diagnosed with clinical depression, and she had her book rejected 12 times by publishers. So suppose that she gave up and she didn't have that growth mindset. Imagine where she would be today. And listen, guys, we would not have the Harry Potter books, the movies, and so forth. So it's important to look at the achievement of others. You can ask yourself the question, who in my life right now is successful? Who has gone through adversity? And if you look at their lives and if they've overcome certain things, guess what? You can do the same for yourself as well. So this is, again, one of my favorite examples because there's so many famous people, guys, out there. If you Google, celebrity fails or whatever they call it, you could see what other celebrities or what other people have gone through and to see what they've overcome to get to where they are now. Okay, number 5, harness the power of yet. So guys, when developing a growth mindset, it's important to realize that your weaknesses are strengths that you haven't developed yet. So get in the habit of putting yet behind certain phrases. Again, my example, I'm not good at math. You can replace it with, I'm not good at math yet. That could be whatever subject that you're dealing with or whatever you're currently going through. You could say, you know what? Okay, I'm not there yet, but I will be. So harness the power of yet. It's a powerful word, and it makes a difference basically definitely on, in regards to your statement. So as you're on your journey, developing a growth mindset, that's definitely a word that you will use in your phrases. Okay. Make mistakes, guys. This is kind of a hard one for some individuals, especially for those individuals who have this mindset that everything has to be perfect. In case you hadn't realized, guys, that we're all human, that we will make mistakes. So again, for some individuals, it's difficult for them to make those mistakes. They often have the thought or misconception that it's not acceptable. So say this statement to yourself in your head, and please repeat this often. I am not going to get everything right the first time that I try. But you may say, okay, Miriam, I am the type of person where this does happen to me. Then absolutely, that's great. But I want you guys to give yourself some grace, that not every time you try something, it will work. It may take doing it over and over until you finally get it. But it's definitely important to persevere to get to that point. So if you have that growth mindset, you're going to say to yourself, okay, it may be taking me a while to do this, but eventually I will get there. So again, guys, think of your mistakes as a learning process. All right, number 7. This is really important. Be kind to yourself. And I think that this is something that we forget to do. Always remember to be kind, guys, not only to others, but to yourself as well. Rather than punishing yourself for the errors that you make, try and reflect on how you would treat someone else in your situation. Being kind is important, especially the world that we live in, because we face negativity on a daily basis. Guys, you turn on the news, I'm pretty sure that you can find something negative on the news, or, someone may say a negative statement. But it's important to treat yourself kindly and also other people. So guys, if someone were to fail at a task that you know very well, would you tell them they're useless, or would you encourage them to keep learning? And that's important. So as you continue or start to develop your mindset or growth mindset journey, it's important to be kind to yourself, and also to put yourself in other people's shoes in regards to how you would want them to treat you. All right. So my final thoughts. So again, didn't take an hour, but I'm glad that you guys gave me that much time to do so. But my final thoughts. And so this was just like a brief introduction, guys, to the growth mindset. Again, there's so much information out there. I encourage you to please research it and get more information so that you can have a better understanding. But my final thoughts are hopefully the growth mindset that information I shared with you, that I presented, will help you determine whether such an approach is beneficial to your own life. Because it's possible that you say, Miriam, okay, this information is not really helpful at the moment. It may not be, but that does not mean that in the future that it will not be. So I encourage you guys to continue to learn, continue to challenge yourself, and continue to work on your personal growth. All right. Any questions or comments?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So one of the things that I hear from people a lot of times when we're talking about, mindfulness and growth mindsets and all that good stuff is, I think there's a tendency sometimes to think that that means I have to force myself to be positive, and that means ignoring, avoiding all of the negative stuff too. So can you talk a little bit about how the not so pleasant and the pleasant kind of fit in together?
Absolutely. And thank you for that question. Yes, right. That's a misconception of a lot of individuals. But listen, you will have times in your life where you're just not having a good day. And in moments like that, I often talk to my clients and my students, and I don't encourage them to quickly go through those feelings. One thing that I say is sit in your feelings, sit and process. If you ask my students and my clients, they'll definitely say that that's something that I always encourage them to do. Absolutely. If you're upset or if you're hurt, sit in that feeling. And what I mean by that is process it. So by asking yourself certain questions and checking in with yourself, asking yourself the question such as, why am I upset? What's currently going on in my life that's causing me to feel upset? And then as you ask yourself that question, guys, you can jot it down or type it on your phone or record a video of yourself asking this question and getting those answers and processing and dealing with your own emotions, right? Listen, we just don't have the happy emotion. We have many: scared, upset, just nervous, you name it. So absolutely. So please don't feel like if you're having a bad day or what I would call an off day, that you have to do something to get in that positive mindset immediately. No, give yourself some time to process it. Because again, those are natural emotions. We live in a world that says, oh, okay, popcorn society, that if you're upset, no, you need to quickly get over it. Absolutely not. So give yourself the time that you need to process that emotion. Now, don't stay in it for too long. Okay, do what you need, even if that means timing yourself. I have a client who does it. Well, give herself 30 minutes to feel a particular emotion, and then she gets up and she moves on with her day. But absolutely, guys, that please don't feel like you have to always be in a positive mode or in that way of thinking. No, because we're human beings and we go through things.
I don't know if you had a chance to address the question in the chat, but there's a question that was written. Do you think that growth mindset might correlate to the ability of self-regulating our emotions or thoughts when facing challenges?
Absolutely. Because, whenever you're in that mindset, I think that you gain certain skills, if that makes sense, that will help to self-regulate. I see it on a daily basis, especially with my students. They're at the age where they struggle with that. And so I teach them growth mindset skills and how to say certain statements. Absolutely. And by saying, let's say, positive statements such as, I can do this, or, I'm going to do great, will change your mindset, absolutely, and help you in those tough times to self-regulate. Because when I believe the more positive things you say to yourself, absolutely, the better you feel. But yes, I definitely think, yes, they correlate, absolutely. Anyone else? Was there another question in the chat? Let's see.
No chat question
Okay.
at this point that I see.
Okay, if not, that is okay, guys. At this time, I just want to share my information with you. Guys, if you have any questions ever, if you had any feedback, this is my email address. I'm also on Facebook as well. I post things most of the time once a week about mindsets and growth mindset. So if you guys want to go in there and check that out, I would greatly appreciate it. But again, any questions before we end? Any more questions?
I guess like a person who teaches psychology classes and stuff, and thinking about how everything fits into the things that we talk about in our classes. Would you say that the growth mindset is something that is almost like trans theoretical, that it is something that you consider to be something that no matter what perspective that you're taught or what school that you're drawn to, of therapy or psychology for that matter, would you say that the growth mindset pretty much fits in with all approaches, or have you found that it fits in with some approaches more than others?
I find, and that's a very interesting question, because I would love to know that, because so as a counselor, the approach that I kind of lean more towards is cognitive behavior therapy, because again, it focuses on thoughts, perceptions, and so forth. And so, it talks about how, of course, you can change your negative thinking into positive. So I find that it fits well into, with CBT, but I would be interested to see the other ones as well. I would want to say yes, because it kind of focuses on the positive, but It depends, but no, that's a great question.
Yeah, maybe we're not ready to answer it yet.
Yes, I know, but no, definitely some research. I think that that's really great because I'm curious to know, okay, how does that fit with, the other approaches? Absolutely.
Thoughts or questions, y'all? Let's do the last call.
Oh, I just thought of something else. Could you give an example of like maybe like a case study, something that you've seen in your practice, either at the school or in the private practice, of how this has been useful for clients?
Absolutely. So let me see. Listen, there's many examples, but let me pinpoint one in general. Absolutely. So I have a student who was in danger of retaining. So one of my 5th grade students. So what we started to do, so I started a group, okay, in this particular class where I taught them just different growth mindset techniques. Now, mind you, this particular student's very negative, okay? Just group, home life is not the best. And so just has a negative outlook on life. And so by going through the process and, helping the student develop this growth mindset, he's now able to tell himself, just positive things, if that makes sense. So his outlook has changed to the point of where at the beginning of the school year, guys, he was in danger of being retained. He will now pass on to the 6th grade. Now, mind you, do I think that it was just attributed to the growth mindset? Not necessarily. I'm pretty sure there were other factors as well, but just having a positive presence or having someone encouraging you definitely helps as well. So yes, that's basically, one case study that I can say. Yes.
There was a question that was added onto the chat.
Okay.
The question is, what do you think are some of the effects of not having a growth mindset?
Oh my goodness. Just, wow. That's an excellent question. The effects of not having a growth mindset, I can, only imagine in a sense what that's like, having a negative mindset all of the time. And I think that an individual that, does not have a growth mindset, or that doesn't lean more into that, faces a lot of challenges. It almost causes you to be stuck, if that makes sense. I think of a person who doesn't have a growth mindset as someone who just doesn't accept challenges. And so it can keep you stagnant, if that makes sense. You won't necessarily have a bad life, but in regards to taking risk and challenges, you probably won't be willing to do that. And so, but if a person is contented with that, then that's okay. But there's so much freedom when it comes to having that growth mindset and being able to believe in your abilities and so forth. But, definitely that's an excellent question. Absolutely.
And the follow-up from another student was, do you think that having a fixed mindset will affect our motivation to engage in school activities or instructional learning?
Absolutely. Because if you have the thought of, okay, I can't do this one thing, or I shouldn't get involved, that's going to hinder you from actually, getting involved and doing those things. Absolutely. And so having that fixed mindset, again, just keeps us grounded in a sense to where, we can't move on with just other things in our life. So absolutely, I've met individuals more so that have a fixed mindset, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you won't be successful, but I think that having that growth mindset, it will allow you to be even more successful because you won't have just that negative way of thinking, if that makes sense.
Dr. Bro, on behalf of her class, said in Psych 200, our course in our curriculum, we talk about the different career paths that students with a psychology background can pursue.
Yes.
Can you tell us what your job looks like on a day-to-day basis and what's the best part of your job?
Absolutely. Great question. And I was hoping that this would come up. Yes. So, you know, whenever I graduated in psychology, oh my goodness, there were so many different, you know, areas that I can go into, but I decided to go the counseling route because I enjoy talking to people and so forth. And so I want to explain to you what it's like for the school counseling side. So mainly, it's going to look different in every state, different school district. So basically what I do on a daily basis is meet with my students and, you know, if they're going through a crisis, I work with them on that. I do classroom lessons and I talk about various topics such as test anxiety, careers, and so forth. And I also have small groups for my students who just need a little bit of extra assistance. And so, but at the level where I am or the school district where I am, we also do SBOC. Okay, so that's basically working with students, creating 504 plans. You guys may not learn that in school if you decide to go a school counseling route, but that's also some of our responsibilities. And listen, I love what I do. My students pour into me, you know, more than I think that I pour into them. And it's definitely a fulfilling career. And if you love working with students, and guys, that's at the high school, middle school, and elementary level. It just depends on if you like working with children and what level, you know, you want to work with them on. But it's very fulfilling. Now, mind you, always busy, because especially I've noticed since COVID, an increase in, you know, just crisis cases, whether it's mental health or, you know, various things going on. It's just our students are having a hard time adjusting. And I'm really noticing my older students, and, you know, it's been a year, guys. You know, I had to send 3 of my students to a mental health hospital because they're having such a hard time adjusting with just changes and with life in general. So, but if you love children and you love counseling, guys, school counseling definitely is the field for you. Now, I can also talk about the LPC side. Just basically kind of the same, but not really. So I work with adults and children. Again, I have my own private practice. Guys, listen, I don't have a lot of time to do anything. So I leave from school, I have about an hour, then I'm in my office seeing clients. And so basically it's just meeting with them for an hour, discussing various things. So it's really not bad. Again, if you love helping people, you will definitely do well in, you know, either the profession for school counseling or just like an LPC or a therapist. Absolutely. Okay.
That seems to take care of the questions we have on the table for now. So
Okay, perfect. But now I appreciate, again, the opportunity to come and talk to you guys about this topic. Again, my information is up. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments.
thank you. Thank you, Jean, for your introduction. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And Miriam, again, please inquire if you get access to today's recording, including your own. Please
Absolutely.
reach out to the people that you've been communicating with. And when it's ready, we can get that IP address to you.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Yes, thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.